Welcome to UMDF's Ask the Mito Doc monthly webcast. Tonight we will hear from one of our wonderful support ambassadors, Bettemarie Bond. Dr. Zarazuela Zolkipli-Cunningham and Amy Goldstein will be joining us throughout the webcast for Q&A, responding in the Q&A in writing, as well as by video at the end of the presentation. Our moderator this evening is our very own Margaret Moore, UMDF Support and Education Associate. The floor is yours, Margaret.
Welcome everyone. Glad to have you here this evening to learn about energy conservation. I know it's an important topic. I also want to get started by thanking our sponsors, the Edith L. Trees Charitable Trust and UCB. So let's get started. We're going to be conserving your, the topic is conserving your energy in the new year. So happy New Year to everyone. I want to introduce Bettemarie Bond. Bettemarie is a patient advocate with mitochondrial myopathy and is an ambassador for the UMDF. Betty teaches patients about energy conservation and utilizes techniques to achieve her dreams. She started on IV nutrition as a teenager 33 years ago, and she fought to gain her independence and to live on her own. Defying all doctors' predictions. She earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in Occupational Therapy from Temple University with a minor in psychology. Betty worked full-time as an OT and part-time as a gymnastics instructor, all while connected continuously to an IV infusion. Through energy conservation and work accommodations, Betty remained working as long as possible, is currently retired on disability. Betty has spoken at conferences and co-authored publications in the Journal of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition and Nutrition in Clinical Practice. Recently, she was awarded the Lynn Howard Nutrition Support Consumer Advocacy Award by the American Society for Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition, otherwise known as ASPEN, for demonstrating admirable advocacy activities. She manages a little free library in the front yard for her community to take a book and share a book. So pop on Bettemarie and let's see you here. Hi.
Hi.
Great to see you. We're really excited about this topic here tonight. I know that this is something that many of our families have to think about every single day, and it'll be nice for them to get tips and tools from someone who's been down that path. So whenever you're ready, Bettemarie, let's get started. Oh, there is one thing I almost forgot. Throughout the presentation, there will be a few short polls for those in the audience. You will see that there's an icon at the bottom of your screen that says polls, and you can click on it. It should just pop up onto your page. Usually it automatically appears there. But if not, you can click polls and then you'll see the poll that we're talking about, and make your choices as quickly as possible so that we can move on to the rest of the presentation after that. And so I think that's it for me. So take it away, Bettemarie. I'm going to go off screen and we'll pop back on when the first poll is getting ready to launch.
Great. Thank you, Margaret. I'm so excited to be with everybody today. I will share with you how I utilize energy conservation techniques to help me deal with fatigue and to be more independent. What will be discussed is not medical advice. Please consult with an occupational or physical therapist about your fatigue and mito symptoms to learn energy conservation techniques that meet your own personal need. Fatigue and other mito symptoms limit my ability to do everyday activities, and I know all of you guys can relate to that. From being able to work, to drive, to shower, to have fun with my nieces and nephews, to spend quality time with loved ones. It affects so much of our life. The physical challenges I face due to fatigue are easier mentally for me to accept and to deal with, whereas the cognitive challenges I experience are much more worrisome and frustrating for me. Especially with memory, I need to utilize a lot of strategies to help me to remember, setting alarms. Word finding can be very challenging, and especially talking. I have the words, on the slides for me. And then I tried incorporating some great photos for you guys. And afterwards, and I apologize I didn't have that for this, our work on putting the words in a Word document for those with visual devices. So I fight fatigue by using energy conservation strategies. So you may be wondering, what is energy conservation? Duke University's physical therapy department states that it's the way activities are done to minimize muscle fatigue, joint stress, and pain. By using your body efficiently and doing things in a sequential way, you can save energy. It redistributes efforts and energy and promotes independence. That's what's great about it. It is work simplification, and it is done by the 4 Ps: prioritizing, planning, pacing, and positioning. So let's begin by talking about prioritizing. And this is what Margaret was mentioning earlier, trying to figure out your priorities, what needs to be done now, and what can be done at another time by somebody else. I like this little cartoon. It's so true. Even when people offer help, I would push myself to do, and it would get me into a pickle. I would suffer, and then I would pay for it. With fatigue, some days I just struggle to keep my head above the water. I fight so hard to stay independent. It was difficult for me to admit to myself and to others that I needed help. I've wrestled with the thought of needing a caregiver. And this graphic mentions quite a few things that you think of, saying no, that you want to remain independent. But yet deep down, you need that help. Sometimes it takes more courage to ask for help. I am discovering ways to give myself grace and to be okay with needing and asking for help. It took me a while to learn how to accept help from somebody else. My mom is my paid caregiver, which is a personal care assistant through Pennsylvania's Act 150 program, and that's a waiver program. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask about that. That word caregiver really stings at times. But one thing I love is that my mom calls her my energy saver. And she actually introduces herself to people that way as my energy saver. She helps me save energy for when I really need it. For example, when I'm not feeling well, doing all types of self-care tasks, gardening, helps me when I travel. She does my shopping. I just have to say I love the photo down in the bottom corner with my dad helping me making a Christmas present. She's on the phone. Face just says it all. He helps me a lot too. So the second P, planning. Plan activities for the day, the week, the month, the year. Keep a schedule flexible because you never know how you're going to feel. It's always varies with us. I keep in mind my personal needs, my family's schedule, my family's needs, and also my medical needs. Planning helps me avoid doing things back to back that cause my body to crash. It took time for me to learn if I wanted to do A, then I needed to give up doing B, C, and D. And often, my to-do list is nothing. Here's an example of me planning so that I could enjoy a trip to Seattle, Washington, where I was giving a presentation. My goal is I wanted to save energy to be able to talk, to do the presentation. So I planned and I arranged a direct flight. I arrived a few days in advance so I could rest and recover before the event. And then I did touristy things the day after my presentation. The third P, pacing. You want to do that at a comfortable pace. Pacing can vary depending on how I'm doing that day and even in the moment. It can be frustrating, and for a while I fought pacing, but then I learned that I can accomplish more by pacing myself. I like the little turtle graphic. Go easy on yourself. Sometimes it's best to move at a slow pace. And it really is living your life at your own pace. But it's not always going slow. Often, I just need to build in many rest breaks into the activity or the day. And so here's photos of me resting in a lot of activities, doctor's appointments. At a National League championship game, I actually had to sleep through the middle of it, but I was there and I had a blast. Then, with needing much rest, I try my best to find creative ways to spend time with my family while laying down. We all know there's a fine line between doing and overdoing. Learning where that line is can be very challenging. And if it's the same for me as for you, I swear that line moves up and down and it can move around a lot. Then, at times, I may wake up in the red, already on empty. And I'm sure you guys have those experiences as well. Then sometimes I can be in the green 1 minute, and the next minute I'm totally empty and crashing. Overdoing and draining my battery makes my crash symptoms more intense, and then it takes much longer for me to recover and to recharge my battery. So with the poll, one thing that I found that helps when I do want to do on those good days is if I have a reminder or a prompt to remind me to stop and rest, even if I don't feel like I need it, having that prompt actually helps me achieve a little bit more that day. And it can be a timer, a caregiver, or from a service dog. Knowing where I'm at energy-wise helps me plan and prioritize what to do, when to do it, when to ask for help, and when to rest. So I created the Mito traffic light. You can see I'm an OT at heart. This can be used in a variety of ways. It can be used with adults or with children. I actually brought in the spoons also from the spoon theory. But when people think of a traffic light, they think of red being stop. And so you can use that to express to somebody, oh, this is my red activity. I can't do it right now. Or, oh, I'm in yellow right now. Or, oh, yeah, I'm in green. I can go and I can do this. So I have this, if you want one, I actually have it blank where you can actually personalize what would be in the red, yellow, and green for you. For myself, I have down my red is where my symptoms progress and they become much more severe. I also have down that these are activities that I must schedule. And then when I am severe, that I must stop doing as well. And these are the activities for me that take a long time to recover from. Yellow are areas where my symptoms may be mild, but yet they may be progressing. So there are activities where I need to really plan, pace, and prioritize. I may need more rest in order to be able to do it, but once I rest, then maybe the next day I can function. So they might be activities that I could do once or twice a week. Also, I'm sure all of you can think of at the time, oh, this is my red activity, this is my yellow activity, or this is my green activity. And of course, green would be, I'm okay, I can do it. And then something else with this I wanted to say is it can be used with communication with with somebody, a lot of people understand a traffic light, and you can say to them, well, yeah, that's my yellow activity, so we need to be cautious, or no, it's red, so not for today. And then here's the spoon theory. I know a lot of people are already familiar with this, but this is where Christine uses spoons to explain to a friend what it's like living with fatigue. And then I came across this, the Eisenhower decision matrix. I love how simplified it is. It helps you figure out whether you should do an activity now, if you should schedule it later, if you should delegate it, or if you should not even do it. But as I started thinking about it, the matrix really didn't reflect how I make decisions when I'm utilizing a caregiver or modifications. Because, for example, when I delegate something, it doesn't mean that it's not important. And I'll get into that in a minute. So I created the modified Eisenhower decision matrix. So it's my Mito matrix. I brought in the traffic light. At the top, how do I feel? I'm in the green, I'm good, I'm rested, I have a lot of spoons. The next one, I'm in the yellow, I'm low energy. I could do some things, but then there's other things I can't do that I really need to wait with. And then in the red, no, I'm not strong enough to do that now. We need to schedule that for later. So now we're going to go down to the next level. These are activities for me that are important to do. When it's in the green, I can do it, or I could do it soon, still utilizing, the energy conservation techniques. Now, when I'm over in that yellow, these are activities that I want to do. And it's really important that when I do them, I need to use those 4 Ps, plan on when I'm doing them, pace them, and prioritize them. The next box are activities that are definitely red, that I'm either not feeling well enough for, that I have to schedule to do it another time. And there are especially the ones that require a ton of rest before to do and need a ton of rest afterwards. And then here's where I started making some changes with the matrix. So this level are activities that are important for my energy saver to do. So I have that first box. It's an activity that's important for me to do. So, but it's in red because I can't do it, but it's in green because my caregiver can. Then we go over to the next block. These are activities that I want to do, but I need assistance with. So it's outlined in red for me, but yet it's in yellow because I need to coordinate it with my caregiver, my energy saver. And then the red is, it's not at this time for me or my energy saver. The other day, it was just actually on Monday, my mom said, oh, I want to make your bed. And I said, oh, not at this time. Let's wait until Thursday after the presentation. And then the bottom row are things that need to be in place or used in order to do the activity. So if it's green, then that modification, adaptation, piece of durable medical equipment, assistive device, or community resource is already in place. And so it's a go. If it's in the yellow, then it's something I may need to obtain. I may need to set it up. I may need to arrange it or figure out how to do it. And then if it's in the red, I have no access to it and I'm totally unsure how to do it. And I'm open to some thoughts, guys, about this, and I'd be happy to share it with you as well. I learned I can accomplish more by prioritizing, planning, and pacing. And actually, by not doing, I learned I get more accomplished. Giving up something now for something later is not a sacrifice. It's an investment. And it's an investment in me. I love how positive this is. A lot of times we think of giving up and not being able to do something so we have energy to do something else later as a negative, like we're missing out. But taking this and thinking of it positively as an investment in myself so that way I can better enjoy that activity, that change in thought is so nice. And I just discovered this quote recently, and I'm happy to share it with you guys, and I hope it makes a difference for you. I use limited energy wisely, and I hope you will too, so make wise choices. The fourth P is positioning, and this image may come to mind when thinking about positioning in ergonomics. It's a photo of somebody sitting, using a laptop in proper position, sitting up straight with their knees bent and the feet on the floor. But with having Mito, I need to take it a step further. I need to have a chair with a high back with my head and neck supported. I'm short. I need to have a block under my feet so my feet touch the ground and are supported, and also at other times I must have my feet elevated. Proper positioning and support helps my body better utilize limited energy. When my body is supported, less energy goes to muscles and more energy goes to my brain, enabling me to think and talk better. Having the postural support enables me to be able to participate in conversations and to enjoy them. It also provides support so I can enjoy doing activities longer with loved ones. And having support is enabling me to talk with you guys right now. This is a picture of the obis form, the back support that I use. I have two of them. I keep one on a roll, an office chair, just like in that photo, at my kitchen table. You know, I would have never have thought before that an office chair belonged in the kitchen, but it works so much easier for me to get up and down out of the chair. I mean, to push the chair back and forth from the table, and it gives me better support. Also, I can have it carried into a restaurant or into somebody else's house. I use one on my scooter, and what's been wonderful about that is it enables me to continue to using my lightweight scooter instead of having to move to an electric wheelchair. I am at a place where I could use an electric wheelchair, but the only problem is by continuing with my lightweight scooter, it fits in the trunk of a car and it can go in the back of an SUV. I have more opportunities for my family members to take me places. If I had an electric wheelchair, it would greatly limit that. And as I was talking earlier about the caregivers, what's been nice is family members have been reaching out to me lately, you know, wanting to take me places. This is another image of somebody lifting a box using proper body mechanics of what we call to mind when we think of that. But with Mito, with body mechanics, you want to think about how things are arranged in the environment around you. Think about if there could be a device that could make it easier to access the items. Also, is there a way that your body can be positioned safely to do the activity with less effort? And the example is bending down and picking things up is challenging for me, so I use a reacher. But then using my arms, lifting them out straight and over my head is very difficult. So I arrange items in my space so they're right within arm's reach. And I have a quick little story to tell. There's a photo of a gentleman with his closet arranged. That's what's on the screen. But I mentioned to an occupational therapist that I was struggling getting clothes in and out of my closet. And you know, I'm an OT. If I would have went into somebody else's house, I would have mentioned this to them immediately as a suggestion. But when it's your own life and you're stuck in your own little world, sometimes it's hard to apply the principles that you know to yourself. So it can be really helpful having somebody else come in and take a look. Well, she mentioned, let's move your shirts from that upper bar down to this lower bar. And what a world of a difference it made for me. We also hung up one of those accordion things so I can have my t-shirts folded on it, and I have my pants on a shelf. And this way I don't need to mess with hangers much, and I don't have to worry about pulling dresser drawers in and out. I love gardening. You know, it's great for the soul. It's also wonderful therapy emotionally, but then also it's great physical therapy as well. I have chairs all through my backyard, so that way I can work on walking. And then also, it doesn't look very pretty, but I repurposed the styrofoam coolers that I get my IVs arrive in, and I have them stacked on top of each other, and that's what I have my plants in. So I have a raised bed garden that I can access while standing and sitting. And then also my energy savers help out as well. And as you can see, things grow really nice in the raised bed garden. Assistive technology is very important. And assistive technology can be a common item, such as an electric toothbrush. It can also be a low-tech device as an elastic shoelace, so you don't have to tie your shoelaces, you can just slide your foot in. It can be a high-tech device, such as the apps aren't using your smartphone to control the lights and to unlock your door. And then it can be durable medical equipment that's made for that. And I just wanted to comment that deciding if and when to use a mobility aid can be emotionally very challenging decision to make. But I have to say that once I finally began to use one, and I actually used them for the first time at a Mito conference, it opened up a world of opportunities to me, and I got to experience and enjoy more activities. And it really does help me conserve energy. Home modifications help me conserve energy. Many relate home modifications with wheelchair accessibility, and that's very true. But home modifications can also reduce energy expenditure and increase independence. I have some great photos there. Of adapted bathrooms, kitchens, and some devices to help going up the stairway. I'm just gonna take a sip, hold on. Sorry, just need a little extra sugar. Modifying the environment includes rearranging the environment, as I mentioned with my closet, or even in the kitchen, putting objects within arm's reach. Incorporating equipment such as a shower bench into the environment or grab bars. But then also it can be something as major as a renovation, totally redoing your bathroom, widening doorways. And there's programs out there if you are that can help cover some of the costs of that. Feel free to ask me if you want some more information about some of those programs. And there's so many products out there that you don't even think of that can be really helpful. So go back and remember that first polling question about what activity you would like to have a little bit more energy for. I'm going to share with you 3 of my examples. So years ago when I was able to work, I wanted to have a little bit more energy to be able to work. So I arranged with my employer some formal accommodations and also some informal accommodations. My parents began to drive me to and from work because walking from the car to the classroom used up my energy. And then I changed jobs so I could work closer to home. Now, another example is just to give this presentation today. As I mentioned, I'm laying on the sofa so my body's fully supported. I'm also infusing an extra bag of dextrose on top of my TPN so I can talk. And then I avoided doing activities for days beforehand. And here's an example to have a little bit more energy for showering. I had my bathroom renovated. And that was the waiver program to help cover the costs with that. My tub was removed and a roll-in shower was installed. Now, one thing I know we may be getting short on time, but I wanted to mention that I had a roll-in shower installed. And a lot of times with modifying the bathroom, the shower head is in front. I personally don't like that water coming down at me. If I was standing, I would have the water coming down behind me. So I actually had them install the shower head, just like in the photo that I have here, behind me, behind my bench. And I also have that dual shower head. So the shower head's up high and the handheld is on a bar and it can be down lower at hand height. And then I have a long 10-foot cord. So that way, when I do need help, the aid doesn't get wet. The cord kind of reaches around. There's also a lot of strategies for saving energy with dressing. For example, I get all my clothes together the night before. Some days I may even stay in my pajamas just to conserve energy. But when I do get dressed, I gather all the clothing at once to avoid multiple trips. I get dressed while I'm seated, and I put my underpants and pants on, pulling them up to my thigh. Then I put my socks and my slippers on. Then I stand up and pull my pants up to my waist. So that way I eliminate unnecessary multiple times of standing. I hope I've given some examples that independence happens in so many different ways. And once you're open to realizing that an energy saver can help you be independent, it can be life-changing. Energy conservation helped me make all these moments possible. Playing with my dog, spending time with family, being a fun aunt, going on vacations. You know, some of those things are the things that everybody agreed on earlier that they wish they were able to do, traveling. So in summary, my energy saving plan includes resting, planning, pacing, prioritize, and positioning. To retain my independence, I have to adapt and modify activities. I use assistive technology and durable medical equipment. I'm very resourceful and creative with how I find ways to do things. And then I utilize community resources. I request help from my energy saver, but most of all, in my heart, I've had to come to allow and accept help from other people. But I want to share a secret ingredient to energy conservation is hope. It can get very discouraging at times, having to always limit the activities in order to do something else. And my mom is wonderful. She's the key to me finding hope. She's always finding ways and things to help me to look forward to, especially when abilities get lost. She ended up gifting me a little free library that Home Depot made and installed in my front yard. And I just love going out and seeing what books have been taken by the community, what ones are still there, what ones people leave. And even on days that I can't make it out front to take a look, she'll go out front and then come in and tell me. And then other days I can give her books and she'll take them out for me. Energy conservation techniques help me figure out how to maximize what I can do with the limited energy that I have. And it can help you too. That's a photo from the award that I won last year, the Lynn Howard Award from Aspen. Energy conservation techniques can be individualized. Consult with an occupational or physical therapist to learn specific ways to meet your need. And then here are some great resources that you can check out with more specific tips and techniques to conserve energy. The first one through Wayne State has a lot of examples, and then the bottom one actually has a variety of types of adaptive equipment listed. So thank you guys. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Bettemarie. I'd like to invite Dr. Goldstein and Dr. Zolkipli-Cunningham to join us. I have a couple of questions, and again, Bettemarie, I'm happy to direct these questions to the docs. If you're tired, that was a long presentation and a wonderful, just chock full of information presentation. But I do have two kind of topics of discussion that I think might be nice to review with our doctors and get their take on things. So for Dr. G and Dr. Zolkipli-Cunningham, what would be the top 3 things that you would advise? And these could be, simple lifestyle changes or dietary things. What would be the top 3 things that Mito patients can do to improve their energy?